The Lost Space Colony 7, the Promethean Resistance. In the wake of humanity's monumental struggle against the Prometheans, Earth emerged forever altered. The Prometheus mission, initially a beacon of hope, led to a series of events that reshaped the human condition and our understanding of existence. Genetic mutations, advanced technologies, and the dawn of new beings promised transcendence but also heralded unforeseen threats to humanity's essence. The discovery of propulsion systems that defy spacetime and regenerative therapies promising immortality raised existential questions, while the revelation of the Prometheans' true intentions ignited a war for survival. Humanity's response, a blend of resistance and innovation, culminated in the development and deployment of an airborne vaccine that curbed the Promethean threat. The tide of battle shifted, symbolizing not just a fight for survival but a profound struggle for identity and freedom. Amidst the ruins, the human resistance, led by unaffected survivors, rallied to reclaim their planet. Utilizing guerrilla tactics and harnessing the power of salvaged Promethean technology, they struck a decisive blow by exploiting a flaw in an interstellar engine, obliterating the Promethean base and marking a pivotal victory in the fight for Earth's future. However, this victory was bittersweet. The destruction of the Promethean stronghold also meant the loss of countless lives, both human and altered, highlighting the complex moral landscape of the conflict. The aftermath left a world scarred yet resilient, with humanity at a crossroads between rebuilding the old and forging a new path. Now, as Earth stands on the brink of a new era, the transformation of the Promethean crater into a fortified hub of human activity embodies the spirit of recovery and determination. Advanced defenses and the repurposing of alien technology symbolize a shift from mere survival to proactive growth and development. Within these walls, a community thrives, dedicated to harnessing the lessons and technologies of the past to secure a future where humanity, united and empowered, can finally dictate its own destiny. As we embark on this next chapter, the legacy of the conflict and the ongoing struggle for freedom and identity continue to shape the journey ahead. The crater, a testament to human resilience, serves not just as a stronghold against remaining threats but as a beacon of hope for what humanity can achieve. The battle for Earth may have reached a turning point, but the war for its soul rages on, promising challenges, discoveries, and triumphs yet to come. In the years following the Promethean defeat, Earth began the arduous process of healing. The human resistance had managed to reclaim vast swaths of the planet, transforming the scars of war into symbols of hope and resilience. Communities thrived within the safety of newly erected fortresses, and the technology once used to subjugate humanity was now being harnessed for its rebirth. Yet, despite these victories, one formidable challenge remained: South America. The continent had become a stronghold for the remaining Promethean forces, a bastion of alien dominion resisting the tide of human resurgence. Unlike other regions, where the Promethean grip had been loosened or eradicated, South America was fortified with anti-air and maritime defenses, impenetrable barriers to the airborne vaccine that had turned the war's tide elsewhere. The Prometheans had adapted, learning from their defeats, and now they waited, shielded behind their formidable defenses, a stark reminder of the war that still raged. The human resistance, united under the banner of the Global Coalition, viewed South America as the final hurdle to Earth's complete liberation. Plans were drawn, strategies formulated, but every attempt to penetrate the continent's defenses met with failure. The Prometheans had erected a network of anti-aircraft turrets and naval mines, creating a deadly no-go zone for any who dared approach. Their control over the region was absolute, their message clear: South America was their last stand, and they would not relinquish it without a fight. The situation called for innovation and bravery. The coalition's scientists, working alongside military strategists, developed a new approach. If the air and seas were impassable, they would go beneath them. A network of subterranean tunnels, beginning from the borders of Central America and extending into the heart of the Promethean stronghold, was proposed. It was a monumental task, requiring precision engineering and the utmost secrecy. The tunnels would be the lifelines for infiltrating the continent, deploying ground forces, and distributing the vaccine covertly. The project, named Operation Underworld, commenced under a veil of secrecy. Teams of engineers and soldiers worked tirelessly, burrowing through the earth, their progress measured in inches. Meanwhile, above ground, the coalition waged a war of misinformation, launching feint attacks and spreading false intelligence to keep the Prometheans focused elsewhere. Months turned into years, and finally, the tunnels reached their destinations. Small teams of resistance fighters emerged in the dead of night, moving quietly to disable the Prometheans' defenses from within. The element of surprise was on their side, and for the first time since the war began, humanity had a foothold in South America. The distribution of the vaccine commenced, delivered not from the air but by hand, door to door, in a stealthy campaign to awaken the minds of those under Promethean control. It was a slow process, fraught with danger, but with each passing day, more of the continent's inhabitants were freed, their wills returned to them, their resolve reignited. The Prometheans, realizing too late the breach in their defenses, scrambled to counter the insurgency. Skirmishes erupted across the continent, a guerrilla war waged in urban jungles and dense forests. The resistance fighters, though outnumbered, were driven by the promise of freedom, leveraging their knowledge of the terrain and the support of newly liberated citizens. As the vaccine's influence spread, the human spirit, indomitable and resilient, began to reclaim what was lost. South America, once a symbol of Promethean strength, became the battleground for humanity's final stand. Cities and towns, long silent under the weight of oppression, buzzed with the whispers of rebellion, the air thick with anticipation and the spirit of defiance. As the resistance gained ground, a palpable sense of hope spread among the ranks of humanity. However, this burgeoning optimism was soon to be challenged by a new, unforeseen threat. The Prometheans, in their relentless pursuit of dominance, unveiled a weapon not of metal and fire, but of nature itself, a genetically engineered plant species that, when mature, released toxins into the air, rendering it unbreathable for humans but perfectly hospitable for Promethean physiology. Dubbed the Breath Stealer by the Resistance, this plant was unlike anything humanity had faced. Its rapid growth rate, coupled with the ability to thrive in diverse ecosystems, allowed it to spread unchecked across vast territories. The Prometheans began disseminating seeds across the northern reaches of South America, transforming once habitable lands into deadly, alien landscapes. The impact of the Breath Stealer was devastating and immediate. Human survivors in affected areas were forced to flee, abandoning settlements and strategic positions. The Resistance's hard-won gains began to erode as the toxic plants encroached upon their territories, pushing them steadily back towards Central America. The Prometheans, capitalizing on this new advantage, fortified their positions, erecting barriers not just against human intrusion but also around the proliferating zones of the Breath Stealer, ensuring their dominion over the transformed lands. In response to this dire turn of events, the Global Coalition convened an emergency summit. It was clear that a new strategy was needed, one that could counter the existential threat posed by the Breath Stealer. The solution came from the Coalition's scientific community, proposing a two-pronged approach: develop a herbicide capable of eradicating the Breath Stealer without harming the native flora and fauna, and enhance the Resistance's gear to filter the toxic air, allowing soldiers to operate in contaminated zones. Operation Green Dawn was initiated, marking a significant shift in the Resistance's tactics. Teams of scientists, protected by squads of elite fighters, were deployed into the heart of the afflicted areas. Their mission was twofold: to collect samples of the Breath Stealer for study and to test the newly developed herbicides. These operations were fraught with danger, not only from the toxic air but also from Promethean forces determined to protect their botanical weapon. Parallel to this, engineering teams worked tirelessly to modify existing filtration systems, creating portable air purifiers that could be worn as backpacks. These devices, though bulky and requiring frequent maintenance, provided the resistance fighters with a lifeline in the poisoned atmosphere, allowing them to press forward where previously they had been forced to retreat. The battle against the Breath Stealer was unlike any before. It was a war fought not only with guns and strategies but also with test tubes and petri dishes. Slowly, through countless sacrifices and relentless perseverance, the resistance began to reclaim lost ground. Areas once choked by toxic air were revitalized, the deadly green tide rolled back by the concerted efforts of humanity's bravest and brightest. However, the Prometheans were not idle. Recognizing the threat posed by the Resistance's advances, they redoubled their efforts to fortify the territories still under their control. The network of tunnels that had once been humanity's secret weapon was now heavily guarded, with the invaders deploying sophisticated sensor arrays to detect any underground activity. The war for Earth had entered a new phase, one where every inch of ground, every breath of air, was contested fiercely. As the resistance pushed forward, the landscape of the conflict transformed. The battle lines were no longer defined solely by geography but by the very air itself. The struggle for South America became a symbol of the broader war, a testament to humanity's resilience and its refusal to succumb to despair. In the midst of this chaos, a new hope emerged among the ranks of the resistance. Reports began to surface of a rare mutation within the Breath Stealer, a strain that not only neutralized its toxic effects but also proved to be lethal to the Prometheans. The discovery sparked a frenzied effort to isolate and cultivate this mutant strain, offering a glimpse of a future where the tables could be turned against the oppressors, where the very weapon meant to seal humanity's doom could become its salvation. The war against the Prometheans, once a battle of attrition and desperation, was now evolving into a contest of ingenuity and adaptation. With each passing day, the resistance grew stronger, more determined, and more innovative, driven by the belief that the planet they called home could one day be reclaimed in full. The fight for Earth's future raged on, a testament to the indomitable spirit of its people, who, even in the face of overwhelming odds, refused to give in. As the conflict between humanity and the Prometheans evolved, the alien oppressors began to view the persistent human resistance not merely as a nuisance but as a potential catalyst for a broader strategic pivot. The Prometheans, with their superior technology and a fundamentally different perspective on existence, considered humans not as enemies but as future allies, beings who, once liberated from their inferior condition through transformation into Prometheans, could join them in a grander cosmic journey. However, the relentless human push from Central America into South America, fueled by the newfound hope of the mutant Breathstealer strain, posed a significant threat to their plans. Determined to eliminate this focal point of invasion and to secure the future they envisioned, the Prometheans devised a catastrophic countermeasure. Harnessing their advanced knowledge of planetary sciences, they developed a seismic weapon capable of targeting the tectonic plates beneath Central America. This weapon was designed not merely to repel an invasion but to annihilate the very possibility of it, by sinking the land bridge between North and South America back into the Earth's mantle, rendering it a molten wasteland of volcanic eruptions and uninhabitable terrain. The decision to deploy such a weapon was not made lightly. In the minds of the Prometheans, it was a necessary sacrifice for the greater good, a way to hasten what they believed was the inevitable ascension of humanity into a new form of existence. The activation of the seismic weapon marked a dark turning point in the war. The earth beneath Central America trembled and cracked, vast fissures opening up to swallow whole cities, towns, and ecosystems. Volcanoes, long dormant, erupted with unprecedented fury, spewing ash and lava over vast areas, transforming lush landscapes into hellscapes. The human resistance, caught off guard by the scale and nature of the attack, could do little but retreat and watch in horror as a significant part of their territory, their home, was obliterated. The loss of life was immense, not just among the ranks of the resistance but also among the civilian populations who had called Central America their home. The Prometheans, from their strongholds in South America, observed the destruction, convinced they had quelled the human threat for good. However, the annihilation of Central America did not bring the Prometheans the victory they had anticipated. Instead, it galvanized the remaining human forces, igniting a fierce and unyielding resolve to fight back against what was now perceived as an existential threat to humanity itself. The destruction served as a grim reminder of what was at stake and of the lengths to which their adversary was willing to go. The global coalition, reeling from the loss but driven by the urgency of their cause, rallied. They intensified their efforts to understand and adapt Promethean technology, pushing their scientists and engineers to new heights of innovation. The mutant breathstealer strain, which had once offered a glimmer of hope, now became a symbol of the Resistance's indomitable will to find a way to turn the Prometheans' own weapons against them. New alliances were forged in the face of shared tragedy, with nations and factions that had previously remained neutral or divided coming together under the banner of the coalition. The Resistance expanded its tactics, focusing not only on military engagement but also on undermining the Prometheans' control over the minds and hearts of the populace. Sabotage, propaganda, and guerrilla warfare became tools in a war that was as much about ideology as it was about territory. The war for Earth's future entered a new phase, one characterized by a heightened sense of urgency and a clearer understanding of the existential nature of the conflict. The Prometheans, for their part, found themselves facing an enemy that, far from being cowed by their display of power, was now more united and determined than ever. The battle lines were redrawn, not just on the physical landscape but in the hearts and minds of every human being who dared to dream of a free and sovereign Earth. In the ashes of Central America, a new chapter of the human resistance began, one marked by resilience, innovation, and an unwavering commitment to reclaim their planet. The war was far from over, and the path ahead was fraught with challenges, but humanity's spirit remained unbroken, fueled by the memories of what was lost and the hope of what might still be won. In the shadow of a transformed Earth, where the middle ground had been swallowed by fire and ash, the long war between humanity and the Prometheans reached a chilling denouement. South America, a continent once vibrant with diverse cultures and ecosystems, had become the heartland of Promethean power, an impregnable fortress from which they could dictate the future of the planet. Central America, reformed by seismic devastation into a chain of volcanic wastelands, served as a stark boundary between two worlds, two ideologies, and two visions for the future of sentient life on Earth. The Prometheans, with South America as their stronghold, had achieved a semblance of the security and stability they believed necessary for their grand vision. From their perspective, the transformation of Earth was but the first step in a larger plan to ensure the survival and evolution of its inhabitants. They viewed their actions not as conquest but as a necessary evolution, a way to elevate humanity beyond its limitations, preparing it for a future among the stars. This belief, ingrained in the very essence of their being, drove them to continue their efforts to convert the remaining human populations, offering them a place in the new order they were building. On the other side of the divide, the remnants of humanity clung to their identity with desperate tenacity. The destruction of Central America and the loss of South America had not quenched their spirit but had instead crystallized their resolve. They viewed the Prometheans not as saviors but as usurpers, entities that sought to erase what it meant to be human and replace it with something alien and unrecognizable. To them, the war was not just about territory but about the very soul of humanity, a fight to preserve their history, culture, and very essence from obliteration. The Earth, thus divided, became a world of contrasts. In the territories under Promethean control, cities were rebuilt with otherworldly architecture, ecosystems were engineered for efficiency and harmony, and the inhabitants, either converted humans or Prometheans, lived in a society where needs were anticipated and met by advanced technologies. This new civilization, though alien to human eyes, flourished, achieving milestones in science, art, and philosophy that seemed to vindicate the Prometheans' belief in their cause. Meanwhile, the human territories, fortified against further Promethean advances, became bastions of resistance. Within these areas, humans worked tirelessly to rebuild and to defend what remained of their world. Societies became more cohesive, driven by the shared goal of survival and the preservation of their way of life. The human spirit, resilient as ever, found ways to adapt and to thrive, even in the face of ongoing threat. Human scientists and engineers developed new technologies, not just for war, but for healing the wounds inflicted upon the earth, striving to restore the natural beauty and balance that had been lost. As years turned into decades, the division between Promethean and human territories became a permanent feature of the planet, a testament to a war that had reshaped the course of evolution. The Prometheans, ever confident in the righteousness of their path, continued to reach out to the stars, establishing colonies on distant worlds, and securing humanity's legacy in the cosmos as they saw fit. They remained ever hopeful that the rest of humanity would one day accept their vision and join them in their interstellar journey. Humans, for their part, nurtured the flames of their culture and independence, ensuring that the story of their struggle, their losses, and their enduring spirit would be passed down through generations. They too looked to the stars, not in conquest but in search of new beginnings, a way to ensure that no matter what became of Earth, the essence of humanity would survive somewhere in the vast, uncaring universe. And so, the Earth remained a divided world, a symbol of what happens when two visions for the future collide with irreconcilable force. The Prometheans and humans, each in their own right, believed in the sanctity of their cause, fighting not out of malice but out of a profound conviction that their path was the one true way to save and elevate the beings that called this planet home. In the end, the legacy of their war was not one of victory or defeat but a poignant reminder of the diversity of thought and the complexities of evolution itself. As the years rolled into decades, and the decades into centuries, the war between humanity and the Prometheans evolved into a complex stalemate. Both sides, locked in an enduring struggle for dominance or assimilation, found themselves in a cycle of conflict and adaptation that neither could decisively break. This prolonged impasse led to an unexpected outcome, a focus on internal evolution and advancement, with each faction relentlessly honing its strengths, technologies, and philosophies, yet always with an eye toward the ultimate goal of overcoming the other. The Prometheans, with their advanced technology and belief in the elevation of sentient beings to a higher state of existence, continued to refine their methods of conversion and assimilation. They saw in humanity not just an adversary but a reservoir of potential allies, waiting to be awakened to the greater reality they offered. This belief did not waver, but the methods of achieving their goal became more sophisticated, aiming to persuade rather than coerce, to enlighten rather than subjugate. Concurrently, humanity's resolve hardened into an indomitable force. United by the existential threat of the Prometheans, human societies underwent a renaissance of innovation and cooperation. The remnants of Earth's nations forged a new identity, one rooted in the collective determination to preserve the human spirit and independence at all costs. Advances in technology, strategy, and diplomacy were all leveraged in the service of this cause, turning human territories into fortresses of culture and scientific achievement. The planet, scarred by centuries of conflict, bore witness to this extraordinary period of dual evolution. The borderlands, once ravaged by skirmishes and incursions, became zones of eerie quiet, watched over by drones and automated defenses, with both sides wary of igniting a conflict that could spiral out of control. Sporadic clashes occurred, but they were calculated and contained, with each side probing the other's defenses, testing their resolve, and then retreating into their own domains to regroup and reassess. In this age of stalemate, espionage and cyber warfare flourished, with both humans and Prometheans seeking to undermine each other through intelligence and subterfuge. Yet, despite their efforts, neither side could claim a definitive advantage. The balance of power, precarious and ever-shifting, prevented the total dominance of one faction over the other. As the centuries passed, the conflict between humanity and the Prometheans became ingrained in the fabric of Earth's history, a constant backdrop to the lives of its inhabitants. Stories of heroism, sacrifice, and perseverance on both sides were passed down through generations, fueling the ongoing struggle with new fervor and determination. And then, the unexpected happened. A discovery, so profound and disruptive, emerged from the depths of space, a relic of a civilization long extinct, offering insights into the nature of existence and the universe that neither humanity nor the Prometheans could have anticipated. This discovery, ambiguous in its origins and intentions, forced a moment of reflection and re-evaluation of the endless war on Earth. As both factions raced to unlock the secrets of the ancient relic, a tentative ceasefire emerged. The prospect of a greater understanding of the cosmos, and perhaps a path to a future beyond the binary conflict that had defined their existence, opened the door to uneasy cooperation and dialogue. The story of humanity in the Prometheans, once defined by unyielding opposition, began to enter a new chapter, one marked by cautious exploration of common ground and shared destiny. The war had reached a point of stagnation, not because of a lack of will to win but because of the dawning realization that the future might hold possibilities beyond the zero-sum game of elimination or assimilation. As this chapter closed and another prepared to unfold, the inhabitants of Earth, human and Promethean alike, stood on the brink of a new era. The story of their conflict, rich with lessons of resilience, adaptability, and the enduring quest for identity and purpose, was far from over. But it was clear that the path ahead would be different from anything that had come before. And that, indeed, is another story. Dare to venture into the unknown. Join us on a journey where shadows whisper and secrets lurk. Subscribe now and ring the bell to summon fresh mysteries directly to your screen every few days. Ignore this call, and be warned, an eternal curse awaits those who wander in the dark, unguided. Do you have the courage to face the unknown? Your adventure begins with a click. Welcome to the realm where every notification brings you closer to the abyss. Subscribe, if you dare.